Hello, how you doing? You know, I did over a 5-hour live stream last night. Everybody seemed to be having a lot of fun. At least that's what they told me anyway. Um, I was incredibly shocked. I was 95% certain it would have been impossible. Not because of what it represented, but because of a lot of roadblocks, thrown up in the way. I've said a million times, however, I said, I hope I'm wrong. And last night that was the case. There was quite a bit of documented shenanigans, that's the word I'm going to use, in Pennsylvania and Texas and other places, but that's all behind us now. So it actually happened last night. I noticed on some boards, and it's been confirmed, that like Bette Midler deleted her Twitter account, and these people, of course, what's the difference between a politician and an actor? There isn't one. They're both professional liars. An actor lies for a living, and that's exactly what a politician does. I don't care about politics. I do care about being left alone, and I care about the freedoms that my forefathers, actually struggled for, including my grandfather, who was a colonel in the Army. Yeah. My other grandfather also, too, in the Army. And forefathers before them. I actually do care about that. And I actually explained a lot of things to Europeans, and this is an issue that Americans have, and I'm going to do it in a unique way, but a logical and a rational one, and I'll make it simple, because I literally answered this question many times last night, and I noticed a lot of them were Europeans. I asked them, where are you from? Some of them are Americans. Okay? And it's the distinction between those that are interested in collectivism and those that are interested in being left alone and in individuality. It's kind of like the distinction between ants and lions, which I'll talk about here in a second. I said during the live stream, I said, watch, when it broke, I said, watch, gold and silver are going to be way down and the stock market's going to be way up. At most, we had like 600 viewers in live stream last night, so I can have people confirm that I said that. I said gold and silver and platinum are going to go, and they did quite a lot. And stock market's going to do that number, and boy, did it really. However, I was incredibly shocked that it was possible. I will admit that, and I will confess that, absolutely so. By the way, before getting into this and explaining this to Americans and to Europeans, those who don't understand it, they don't have any perspective. There's an old saying about the honeybee can explain why honey is better than poo to the fly. You got a honeybee and a fly, but the honeybee can explain the wonders of honey all day long to the fly, but he's still never going to make the fly understand why honey is better than poo. Because flies reproduce in it, and, flies love to swarm around the poo. You just, it's like talking to a brick wall. It's like, why even try? Sometimes it's that way also, too, in some of the things I was explaining last night. And by the way, the United States was never a democracy, okay? The word democracy is not mentioned anywhere in the founders' documents. The United States is a constitutional republic. Anyway, the governor of New York, and completely unrepresentative of most of the United States, she said a few days ago, she said that those that would vote for that guy, I'm going to use the words that guy, said they're anti-women, they're against women, which is absolutely hyperbolic nonsense. Hyperbole needs to be rejected. This has nothing to do with politics. This has to do with being rational. And she said they're also too anti-democratic. Well, all of those things are lies, and on top of that, once again, the United States is not a democracy. It is just completely not. I can think of like countless women you put in the White House. It has nothing to do with that at all. I mean, Condoleezza Rice, Candace Owens, the governor of North Dakota, whatever her name is, it escapes me right now. I can go down a long laundry list. Yeah, not that I care at all. I find it very funny, and I was laughing about this last night. It didn't happen until this morning, but things like this, where people are just, they're acting like adult children. about it. Like Christina Applegate, you know, that Hollywood person. I mean, these are all professional liars. And she said, "Oh, all of you people are just, you know, you voted against women's rights, and I'm deleting my Twitter account." She did. The same is true of Bette Midler and all these other. They all deleted their Twitter. I mean, who cares? Who absolutely cares? But it's just a sign of adult juvenilism. It really is. Politicians also, too, like actors, 99 times out of 100, they can't fix anything, they can't build anything, they can't do anything. They are literally professional, because they entertain us, yeah? Professional paid-for liars. I mean, they're professional liars. But what America, by and large, didn't want was someone that was incredibly unintelligent, which that person is, unaccomplished, a de facto socialist by any metric, a demonstrable socialist. And she's asked over and over again, so what would you do any different than the past 4 years? No, I wouldn't do anything different. I mean, that's on video over and over again, several different interviewers. Anti-freedom. I could go down a long laundry list. And a lot can happen between now and January, by the way. And I'm going to give people a big insight, because I'm here in the South, you know. Kentucky went all red except for where I'm at in Fayette County, because it's a college town. And also, too, Louisville, which Louisville is the armpit of Kentucky, by the way. Louisville is basically like a mini Portland. I mean, it really is. It's a mini Portland. Now, if you know what the reference is, I get it. We have to think about collectivism versus individuality. The Amish, for example, you know, they don't believe in collectivism, you know, of thought. They do work collectively, like a new Amish family. They need a barn built. I mean, they all drop what they're doing, and they arrange a date, and they show up, and all the Amish from all around, including they get bussed in, literally, or car pulled in from far away. You know, they have a fellowship, so they are collective in that sense, but it is not a collectivism of thought. You know, they get together with their kinsmen. This is the same difference between ants and lions. I mean, you can imagine an imaginary conversation between ants and lions. The ants are like, "We're so many more than you lions." I mean, you know, is any lion? No lion concerns itself, not that it can, literally, concerns itself with the opinions and feelings of ants. "Oh, we're so many. We're tens of thousands of ants." Like, you know, you're ants. You know, you do a lot of things collectively, and you make things happen, but, you know, fundamentally, you know, they're ants. You know, if it rains really hard, they're in danger. You know, the lion's just standing out there, you know, minding his own business, looking off in the horizon while the ants are, you know, getting flooded in their anthole there. Collectivism spawns craziness. And collectively, people, what they analogously like to do and tend towards, knowingly or unknowingly, they like to sniff their own exhaust. Yeah, people sniff their own exhaust collectively, and they become completely out of touch with natural order. The reason why people who are rural, and I'm not rural, I mean, I've got farmland, I'm perfectly, you know, I know how to defend myself and build things and fix things. You know, I was all mucked up from fixing my plumbing a few days ago. I mean, that was like the messiest disaster you've ever seen. I even had some chemicals down the drain, even though I was draining it into the bucket before snaking it. You know, I had literal bleach, you know, rolling down the side of my face, and I got some chemical burns on my arms. I technically had the money to call a plumber, but, you know, I'm a person that can fix things and do things myself. You know, believe it or not, I do a whole lot more than make videos. There's this mentality that people get together. Nobody talks about this. There might be some people. We talk about, you know, urban people versus rural people. But have you ever asked yourself, like, Kentucky's a perfect example. The whole state is red, except for Lexington, which is a college town metropolis, and Louisville, which is the same thing, even though it's not a college town. Why is it, you know, people don't objectively agree to have the same sort of groupthink or herdthink, bah, moo, when they get together in cities, but they do. When you look at the United States as far as territory, I mean, the whole map is essentially one color, and there's just these little pockmarks of blue of the major urban areas. Like, why do you think that is? Why do you think, I mean, you know, the people that would vote that way, and I don't like to use the word vote, and believe it or not, I didn't actually vote during this, this event yesterday either. You know, I confessed that last night. I'm going to get very quickly here to what the many Americans and many Europeans don't understand, and I answered this very directly and very truthfully with them, with no, misdirection in my heart, being truthfully. It's like, this is what you don't understand. I'm going to explain it to you, which, as I said in the live stream last night, you know, some people were, not that I could see it, they're kind of frothing at the mouth over the occurrence. By the way, during the past 4 years, because of the, you know, stay home, don't leave, you know, you're going to go outside, you need to put on your face diaper, and you can't do this, and you can't do that. I did the exact opposite. I got out more during that period of time than I have in the past 10 years collectively. You know, I always do the opposite of what tyrants want you to do. But there's been a huge move. Tons of people have de-urbanized. I heard that up 10,000 times from comments and live streams over the past 4 years. You're like, I'm leaving the city, all these people are crazy, I'm going to move to where normal people that have their heads screwed on straight live. I mean, I heard those, and you know I'm not lying. I mean, look at my eye. Tell me if I'm being truthful or not. I had up 10,000 people say, I'm getting away from these crazy people. I'm going to move to where normal people are. And that is de-urbanization. You know, you don't have to move out in the sticks where it's 100 miles from anything, but just out to where normal people are. People that are not living in a nutshell, sniffing their own exhaust. These people don't follow natural order. They can't build anything. They can't fix anything. They live in fear, and they live in a form of neurosis. They're like the ants. These people are like, you know, I'd rather live like a lion than live like an ant. It's a crude analogy, but it's rather accurate. By the way, the U.S. media is the least trusted entity in the entire United States. I can see through them. You can actually watch them if you can see through them, but if you watch them and you can't see through them, then you're in danger of becoming like the urban people. They all, you know, they collectively reinforce each other. You know, don't step out of line. You don't want you having any free thoughts of your own. You're going to think like the rest of us. It spreads like a virus. And have you literally ever asked yourself why it is where people are congregated en masse? These on the map of the United States. This is the blue spots, right? There's no state that's all red. Well, Kentucky nearly is, but I mean, there's these blue spots, Lexington and Louisville. Same as every other state. Why do you think it is? You think that, like, well, all the people that vote red live out in the sticks. You know, they're all a bunch of country bumpkins, and all the people that have hive mind, you know, are a bunch of ants, you know, want to live very closely packed together in urban areas. It spreads like a virus. I used to live in California, and, you know, I will rebuke Southerners and people in general that, you know, roll their eyes at California and how crazy it is. And there's a lot of craziness in California. High taxes, everybody moving out. God knows how many people moved out of California the past 4 years. But even I know that other than San Francisco and San Diego and the LA area and a few other spots, most of California, 98% plus of it, so far as land area-wise, is not blue. It's not. When you actually get away from this hive mind ant colony, you know, sniffing your own exhaust, you tend to see the great benefits of freedom and, living outside the scope of tyranny and oppression. I mean, you really do. You should look at the psychology of the blue people in groups and why red is rural. And it's really very simple, actually. What the Europeans don't get, I'm getting to the crux of this right now, sorry about that, is that people think that they're in love with a guy whose personality, the orange man, okay? And I have no love for him. I didn't even vote for him, okay? I didn't vote for anybody, actually. It's not that the people that did vote for him love him. Some of them do. We have to be totally honest. 99% of the people that did vote for him, they're not wearing those MAGA hats and bumper stickers and yard signs. They don't. But what they want is they want low taxes. They want to be left the bleeping bleep alone. They want to keep the freedoms that they and or their forefathers fought for. They don't want any part of their social engineering plans. They want to feed their family. They want to keep some of the money they worked so hard for. And they want to buy Christmas gifts for their kids. It's not that they're in love with that guy, but they can't stand socialism and they can't stand tyranny, and they don't want somebody up there that has no brain, unaccomplished, a socialist. No, I didn't do anything different in the past 4 years. What'd you do different than the past 4 years if you get elected? I can't think of anything. Oh, that's bad. If anything lost her the election, number one thing, it was definitely that one. Anti-freedom. You know, normal people, you know, I know you think you're normal, especially if you're an urbanite and you're in love with an unintelligent, completely, no skills at all, has never run anything. I mean, when she was running things in California, she wrecked it. People of California admit that. They don't want that. They want you to keep your hands, their dirty hands, these professional liars, off of their amendment number 1 and amendment number 2. You know, don't keep, you know, our forefathers, you know, fought to keep those freedoms. You know, you're not going to tax us to death. You're not going to hire 10 million IRS agents and, you know, come and harass the hardworking Americans that are struggling just to buy groceries. I keep telling everybody that poo doesn't stink and, you know, they're going to fix things. It's like, you're going to fix things, but you just got done saying over and over again that you're not going to do anything. It's not that the people that voted for that orange guy love him. The percentage that probably do is 5 to 10%. I'm not making a defense of that, but they like to be left alone. They like their freedoms. They don't want you to bother them. When the people that are working so hard every day and just come home and plop in bed, you know, trying to pay the bills, when they start getting disturbed, then that's when the whole apple cart gets tipped over. When the people that want to be left alone and you keep picking on them and picking on them and picking on them, it's like, yeah, that's it. There's no more. That's when the apple cart gets turned over. By the way, I don't care what you think or I think, but I'll tell you this. Real Americans, and I don't mean those that are driving Teslas and living in a condo apartment complex and buying a cafe latte, half-calf mochachinos, you know, $10 coffees. You don't get it, why they want to be left alone. They're not in love with that guy. But they do like their freedoms, and they're not going to vote for the person that they know is going to destroy their freedoms. By the way, old Orange Man, he has a trifecta. We got the House and the Senate and him. And so he's not going to be running for anything ever again. He can literally, I hate to use the words, he can literally run wild and do what he wants to do over the next 4 years. I think even, the people that are sniffing their own exhaust realize that fact. Like I said, a lot can happen between now and January, but Raskin and others, Jamie Raskin, and others have said, well, if he gets in, we're not going to certify that. Not going to certify the election. I'd like to see how that turns out. Just like the ants and the lion, you know, the ants think, well, we got the numbers. You know, we have 100,000 ants to your one lion. It's like, yeah, but you're a bunch of ants. I keep saying this and I have for years. Land is power. I'm not interested in power. But if you look at a map of the United States, it's like, well, you know, 99% of it, I mean, the landowners, the people, you know, the farm owners and the rural folks that might have like a double-wide trailer, but it's got like 10 acres on the back of the double-wide trailer, and there's a lot of that in the United States, especially in the South. It's like, you live in a double-wide trailer. Anybody, yep. You know what? What? I got 10 acres back here, and all of it's paid for. You living in an apartment, which is flushing your money away. You know, you live in a nice, well, I live in a nice fancy apartment. You got a septic system, and, wood stoves. Like, yeah, but my wood stove, I can chop firewood and feed it, and it don't cost me nothing. My land is paid for. Land, and I've had a lot of people that have actually taken my advice, and trust me, let me raise up my glasses and look at you to know that it's true. They said, I didn't get what you said, or I didn't necessarily believe you, but I found some land, and you gave me the last push on getting some land, and I didn't realize what you said about, land being power and freedom and empowerment. Now I get it. The ants can talk about all the numbers they want, and they can chirp and say, oh, we've got collectivism, and we all work together. It's like, yeah, good for you. These are the people that literally don't know what natural order is. The reason why these people are rolling around on the ground like they stubbed and broke their pinky toe over what happened yesterday is because they've been sniffing their own exhaust. And 100% of them are in rural areas. They are out of touch with normal people. And what's a normal person? What's normal? Are you saying that like people that vote blue are not normal? No, what I'm telling you is that when people get in urban areas, they get brainwashed by other ants in the urban area. They don't know how to fix things. They don't know how to build things. They don't know the way nature works. And they don't understand fundamentally, and this is a huge issue with Europeans, but also too many Americans, why somebody's like, this guy's so horrible, how could you pull the lever for that guy? He's got an orange muskrat stapled to the top of his head, and everything is like huge, huge. It's like, well, I don't like the guy. They'll tell you that. A lot of them will. What do you mean you don't like him? You voted for him. It's like, this is the guy that from 2016 to 2020, there were no wars. The economy was good. I had money to buy Christmas presents for my kids, and I didn't stress out and start sweating profusely when I went to the grocery store. It's not about liking. It's me liking freedoms, being left alone. Don't touch, Amendment number 1 or Amendment number 2, because my forefathers fought for those, the two most important ones. That's what it's about. You can't, again, it's still talking to the ants. You can tell them, but you can't get them to understand. They've been huffing their own exhaust for too long. You say, well, you got the numbers. That's true, but you know what I got? I got land that's paid for, free heating until time itself ends. Also, too, free food, because I know how to get it, because I actually know how to do things. Also, too, I got a well on the back, so I got free water, free food, free heating. The land is paid for. It's like, you got the numbers, but we control the land that feeds you and brings you firewood for you city folks. Those without anything are free to run wild, and they do run wild, but they run wild in urban areas. They themselves, at the very basic level of their myopia and their destructive nature, they know not to even think to try to do that stuff in rural areas, because it would not go over well. I'm going to use those words very kindly. It wouldn't go over well. I'll let you figure that one out. Those who want freedoms and want to be left alone, they actually have a lot to lose. They just want to work hard and be left alone, feed their families, buy some Christmas gifts, and enjoy the freedoms that their forefathers, gave most, if not everything, for. And this has nothing to do with one man. And this has nothing to do with, oh, you're against women. Now, is there maybe like less than 1% that might have that in their head, and that's the reason why they did what they're... Yeah, I'll even confess, I don't know what it is. It's definitely less than 2%. I can think of a million women and put in there right now. Candace Owens, Condoleezza Rice, what's her name? The North Dakota governor, bunch of others. I forget her name. Not the Nikki chick, because she's a war hawk. Big-time war hawk. Let's leave her out of it. You should ask yourself, rather than like rolling on the ground, rolling around like somebody that stubbed and broke their toe. Oh my God, how can this happen? You should ask yourself why it is that sort of mentality of collectivism. Nearly 100% of it exists in urban areas. Why do you think the rural people, want to be left alone. They want the person that's going to leave them alone, the smallest government possible. Here's something that nobody with 5 brain cells can deny, okay? I work 7 days a week most of the time. I have multiple jobs, okay? No wife, no kids, no house payment, no car payment. I tell you flat out right now, I'm lying if I'm dying. I haven't had health insurance in over 15 years. I didn't vote yesterday. I confess openly. But it absolutely burns my butt, and you have nothing to say against this because you know it's true. You have nothing to say against this. It burns my rump that somebody that has not paid taxes and done things for society, and paid their dues, can, pop in here tomorrow and have free health insurance 48 hours from now. I have to watch that I never break my leg or, get injured some way that I need stitches because it'll just financially destitute me. You can't have 5 brain cells and say I'm not right about that. Anybody with no brain at all knows that that just burns somebody's rump. It just burns their rump. I don't care what you think about, where somebody's from. It's like, you don't come here tomorrow and get free health care the day after that when somebody like me, I absolutely have looked into the health insurance plans. No. The way you can buy a health insurance plan, it's $1,500 a month, but it's got a $30,000 deductible each year. In other words, like if I paid $1,500 a month, something like that, last time I looked, I'd have to pay in $30,000 before my yearly health insurance would kick in, and that would restart every year. So, if I need to get stitches for whatever reason, some sort of major injury, not that I want to go to the hospital, but some things you do, break your arm, leg, stuff like that. You need to go there. That just absolutely roasts my skin. And you can't deny that. It's like, yeah, what you said is logical. You haven't had it for 15 years. You pay taxes. You do lots of things. And I've even given to society and donated times at various points in my life. Paid into the honeypot for property taxes and regular taxes and car tax, on and on and on and on. So someone's going to come here tomorrow and get free health care the next day when I haven't had it for 15 years? I'm just one person. I didn't even vote yesterday, but there's plenty of people like me and 10,000 other reasons. They want to be left alone. It has nothing to do with liking the guy with an orange muskrat stapled to the top of his head. It has nothing to do with liking him or not liking him. It's like, who's going to give me freedoms and who is a unintelligent, unaccomplished socialist? And trust me, I know what socialism is. I lived in communist Russia for a long time. Don't even think of having a debate with me regarding socialism. Americans don't want it. At least anybody with a brain doesn't want it. So, that's the facts. You could like this video or hate it, but at least I told the truth and I wasn't trying to blow smoke up anybody's, backside. Okay? I don't make videos like this, but after yesterday's 5-hour live stream, I felt I needed to. That's the reason why things went the way they went. I didn't think they would. I thought there'd be tons of shenanigans, like there was evidence of. I'm going to use the word shenanigans. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Have a lovely week. Be peaceful, carry on. Don't fall for the left or fall for the right. I'm interested in facts, logic, and wisdom. What's most beneficial to my freedoms, a good economy, and the sovereignty that I have and my forefathers paid for. Thanks.